Everyone, the Eylon Levy versus Mehdi Hassan debate is live. You can find debate highlights live on our YouTube page, Israeli Citizen Spokespersons Office, and the full debate is on the State of a Nation podcast YouTube page. You got to watch the whole thing. You got to watch how Eylon dealt with Mehdi Hassan. Must-see TV. Now on with the daily briefing. I have a question. Is Israel occupying Lebanon? If yes, since when? And if no, then why did Hezbollah and Lebanon start a war? I ask because people say that occupation is the core of the problem, but Israel is not occupying Lebanon. There's a border between Israel and Lebanon. It's a border that the United Nations marked. Israel would be very happy to never cross it. Hezbollah had other ideas. Hezbollah joined Hamas's war 1 year ago because Iran told Hezbollah to open a second front against Israel. 9,000 rockets, anti-tank missiles, and suicide drones. What did people think Israel's response would be? Diplomacy and Israeli military action up to this point have failed to persuade Hezbollah to stop attacking Israel. For a year, Israel has warned, Hezbollah must back off or we will have to push it away. Hezbollah hasn't backed off. What kind of Israeli response do you think is justified? Let me know in the comments. A lot has been happening in the past day. The Israel Defense Forces declared the start of what it called Operation Northern Arrows. The IDF struck hundreds of Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, including command posts, missiles aimed at Israelis, and more. Israeli leaders, from the prime minister to military officials, have issued multiple warnings to Lebanon civilians to distance themselves from Hezbollah's rockets, from Hezbollah's military infrastructure, and to evacuate areas of fighting around Hezbollah's stronghold in southern Lebanon, in the Dahya district of Beirut, and in the Bekaa Valley. Hezbollah uses people's homes to store and to launch rockets and missiles. Hezbollah pays civilians in southern Lebanon for use of rooms in their homes. Former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett wrote a tweet about this you should all read. Some people supplement their income by renting out a room on Airbnb. In Lebanon, people supplement their income by renting out a room to a Hezbollah rocket. If terrorists store missiles in your house and you get money for it, is your house a legitimate military target? It may be. That's one reason that the IDF has issued warnings to people to give them time to get away from the missiles in residential areas. There are videos circulating on social media that show large explosions in homes, and they prove that Hezbollah hid powerful weapons in these areas. The explosions caused secondary explosions. You can see that there's a hidden rocket that ignited and flew into a next-door neighbor's house. IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari said that one such missile, which the military destroyed on the ground before it could be fired, was identical to the kind that killed 12 Druze children playing in a soccer field in Majd al-Shams in northern Israel at the end of July. Hezbollah and Hamas have the same strategy. Fight wars from civilian areas and target Israeli civilians. And when Israel defends itself, they hope that the international pressure on Israel is strong enough that Israel is forced to surrender. Here's an angle you don't hear enough about. Some of the rockets that Hezbollah fired struck Palestinian towns in the West Bank. Hezbollah is attacking Palestinians. Hezbollah also fired rockets at the Israeli Arab city of Nazareth. I think you've heard of the place. I mentioned already when Hezbollah hit the Druze village of Majd al-Shams and killed 12 children playing soccer. Christians, Muslims, Druze, Jews. None of this is new from Hezbollah. In 2006, when Hezbollah started a war by ambushing Israeli soldiers patrolling the border, Hezbollah rocketed Arab towns across northern Israel. 43% of people killed in Israel in that war in 2006 were Arab. Hezbollah's rockets also hit the West Bank then. Hezbollah does not care about human life, Arab or Jewish, just like Hamas does not care about human life, Arab or Jewish. Let's remember the big picture. Hezbollah is not an independent actor. It is trained by Iran, financed by Iran, supplied by Iran, and ordered by Iran. Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy army. After a year of war with Hezbollah, it's fair to ask, where are world leaders? Where's the United Nations? Where's the United States? Where's the UK? Where's France? Where's Germany? Where's the government of Lebanon? I can tell you where they are. They're hiding. Nobody is willing to say what needs to be said clearly. Hezbollah needs to stop attacking Israel. Period. Israelis in northern Israel need to be able to return to their homes safely. This is the bottom line. This is the goal. The Israelis need to be able to return to their homes safely without Hezbollah aiming anti-tank missiles at them. I don't think that's too much to ask. But what we get from world leaders are cliches, non-statements that don't use the word Hezbollah and calls for de-escalation. Right now, it feels like Israel's on its own. Let's take some questions for anyone watching live on our social media platforms, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Please.
Adina Lala on Instagram asks, is Hezbollah popular amongst the people in Lebanon?
In one word, no. Hezbollah is not popular among the people of Lebanon, but Hezbollah is the strongest power in Lebanon. Lebanon is a fractured country. It is divided between Christians, Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims, and also Druze. And the politics of Lebanon play out in a very complicated Lebanese political system, where Hezbollah may not be popular among the country as a whole, but it has enough power, it has enough weapons, and it has enough votes that it has the ability to participate in the Lebanese government. So that same Lebanese government that is, according to any international laws and standards, supposed to disarm Hezbollah, because no sovereign country is supposed to have an independent militia in its own territory. Well, Hezbollah has enough power in the Lebanese government to block any decision to disarm it. And in case anyone gets any ideas, it's likely that they will be assassinated, as we've seen has happened in the past. So how the Lebanese people can stand up to Hezbollah at this point is an open question, because Hezbollah has a stronger militia, a stronger army than most militaries in the world. It has a bigger rocket arsenal than most militaries in the world. It is well trained, well financed, and it's motivated. And that's why we have such a difficult situation.
We have a number of questions asking for clarification of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701, which deals with Lebanon, and specifically questions about what that means for Hezbollah and for southern Lebanon. Could you please explain?
Yes, every time I read tweets about the current situation in Lebanon, I am seeing references to this UN resolution named 1701. To most people, this is just a random number. The UN Security Council passed this resolution 18 years ago. 18 years ago in the summer of 2006. And that resolution, which you can go and read in multiple languages, that resolution is what ended the previous Lebanon war, the second Lebanon war. This was the ceasefire agreement, was UN Security Council Resolution 1701, that effectively called for Hezbollah to disarm. To disarm. And to leave southern Lebanon, and so that the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army would be able to take control in southern Lebanon and behave like a normal sovereign country. This, of course, did not happen. Hezbollah did not disarm, and in fact, the exact opposite happened, which is that Iran supplied Hezbollah with billions of dollars worth of weapons, training, everything you can imagine that Hezbollah needed, it got from Iran. So UN Security Council Resolution 1701 seems to have not solved the problem between Israel and Lebanon, between Israel and Hezbollah that started the war in 2006, and perhaps we'll get a different UN Security Council resolution that will be a bit clearer and have a bit more means to be implemented rather than sit on the shelf.
Itai Hagag on Instagram asks, will a ground invasion in Lebanon start a regional wider war as the West fears?
The future is one of those things that is hard to predict. It is impossible to know that an action that has not yet been taken will cause someone else to take an action that has not yet been taken. I know a lot of people love to predict. War is inherently unpredictable. We do not know what's going to happen today, let alone tomorrow or the next day. So the Israeli military, of course, is not publishing its plans. The government is not being specific about its tactics. What we have to remember only is the principle. What is the principle involved? The principle involved is that Hezbollah started a war on October 8th. It joined Hamas in the war that Hamas started October 7th. And Hezbollah started shooting precise anti-tank missiles into Israeli houses. I don't think you can live in your house if anti-tank missiles are crashing through the walls. There are about 60,000 people in northern Israel who fled their homes in October, and they are waiting to go back home safely. So the goal of Israel's military operations in Lebanon is to enable the people of Israel to go home. How that will happen, what precise tactics, or will there be a diplomatic solution? I'm watching to find out, just like you are.
For our last question, we're getting reports that the IDF has conducted another targeted strike in Beirut. Could you speak a little bit about the strength of Hezbollah and the effect that Israel's recent strikes have had on its ability to act as a threat?
Yes, just as we were going live, I heard about this strike. I have not yet looked into the details, but this will not be the first time that the IDF has carried out a strike in Beirut. Hezbollah is not just in southern Lebanon. It's important to remember. While southern Lebanon is Hezbollah's stronghold and its base of operations and where its core group of supporters are, Hezbollah also has a base in the capital of Lebanon in a neighborhood in the south of Beirut called Dahya. And it's in this area where Hezbollah leaders are trying to meet to plan and to carry out more operations. I think they have faced a number of setbacks in the past week to their ability to communicate with each other, to plan. There were, as many of you saw the story, the pagers were exploding, pagers that Hezbollah operatives carried, and they'd get a page and maybe they'd go to a meeting or they'd go to their base. These pagers blew up in their hands, walkie-talkies blew up in their hands. Hezbollah already doubted the use of cell phones. So it's harder now for Hezbollah to communicate with each other. And when the leaders have to meet in person, it seems perhaps that their positions have been compromised, that Hezbollah maybe has been infiltrated. It remains to be seen what will be the effect of this strike or any strike. The only way to really judge if a strike has been effective or not is, have the people of Israel gone home? That's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end of this live broadcast of the Israeli Citizen Spokespersons Office. We will be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Israel time. That's 8 a.m. on the East Coast. If I didn't get to answer your question, feel free to find me on social media. I'm Daniel Rubenstein, and have a lovely day.